They say it's all about who you know. And when they say that, they say it like it's bad news. But the truth is, it's a cheat code. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to network your way into high-ticket freelance work, even if you don't have a single connection right now. Here's how hiring works in the real world, and put yourself through this experiment as well. This is probably how you hire people to solve important problems for you. Step one is the me stage. You think, who do I know that can solve this problem, this important problem for me? Step two is the you stage. You think, who do I know that knows someone? Do you know anyone that could solve this for me? Do you know anyone that could solve this for me? Right. And then step three is the internet stage. It's where you ask Google, okay, who should I get to solve this problem for me? Most freelancers build their businesses around step three, around the internet stage of that kind of gig handout gauntlet. But what they don't realize is they're fighting for scraps there, because 80% of the jobs were already handed out at step one and step two, at the me and at the you phase. Your objective should be to be consistently hired before a job ever hits the internet. That's the power of network level access. And today, we're going to talk about how to optimize for that. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to earn it. A freelancer commented on a LinkedIn post of mine and said, unfortunately, sometimes it just comes down to who you know. And I replied, you're wrong. Most of the time, it comes down to who you know. I used to think, like this person probably thinks, or has been disillusioned out of thinking, that great work was what got you hired. But now I know great work gets you shortlisted, but connections get you the job. Connections push it through. Here's why talent is just the baseline and networking is the multiplier. Clients assume you're talented if you're in the room. If you've made it to the stage where they're talking to you, you're there because you can get the job done. So talent is table stakes, right? They're not asking, is this person good enough? They're asking at that stage, do I trust this person to deliver? Do I trust that this person will be able to command this process and see me and my team through to a successful result? But here's where most freelancers miss big time. You don't build that trust during the proposal stage. You're not going to get on a 1-hour sales call and say the right combination of words and build that trust. You build it long before you're ever considered. And that's why networking is king, because the earlier someone knows you, the longer that trust has to compound. Think about two freelancers pitching for the same job. Freelancer A, never heard of him before. Portfolio looks good, proposal's tight, but who are they? Freelancer B, oh yeah, I've seen this person comment on my posts. We've had a lot of really good conversations on LinkedIn. I remember they shared something smart last week. Wait, didn't we DM about, a case study of something similar that they had done? Freelancer B hasn't even pitched yet, but they're already way ahead in this process. They're not just a name. They're a known quantity, and that trust didn't just come from one epic email or from, one kick-ass sales conversation. It came from showing up, engaging, networking. The magic of networking isn't in what it gets you today. It's the momentum that it creates for you 30, 60, 90 days down the road, when the person that you've been casually interacting with needs what you do. By that point, they've seen your thinking in the comments. They've engaged with you on their content and in your content. Maybe you swapped DMs or shared a resource, and you've been showing up consistently without asking for anything, just providing value. So when they ask, who do I know that can solve this? Your name already has a seat at the table. That's the power of networking. You earn the trust before the brief even exists, before the job is even created. So some quick action items for this chapter. Stop trying to earn trust with cold proposals. It's too late by then. You need to get out in front of this. Invest in pre-trust activities, strategic commenting, warm DMs, valuable content. No pitch needed, right? It's just you're just putting value on the internet, and you're never really going to have to pitch when it comes time for everybody else to. And then lastly, treat every interaction as a reputation builder. Every comment, every post, every message is a trust deposit. All right, think of it as you're depositing in the bank of trust each time. You don't need everyone to notice. It's not about vanity metrics. You're not playing a numbers game here. You just need the right people to notice. When I first moved to Hollywood, I kept hearing, it's not about how good you are, man. It's about who you know out here. And they would say it like it was a tragedy. Like, oof, get ready for, this terrible slog down Hollywood Road. Because, it doesn't matter how good you are. But I thought, wait, if that's the game, I just have to meet people. That's great news. That's a piece of cake. That mindset shift changed everything. It reframed the whole equation from get better to get better known. And like I said, talent is table stakes. You actually have to, pull off the things that you're being paid to pull off. But, my mission in life became about showing up to Starbuckses, showing up to events, showing up to random cafes and injecting myself into conversations and making buddies. My first major gig was an assistant director for a comedy special that aired on the Showtime network. And it was purely because a buddy of mine, his usual assistant director was out of town. And I said, I think I could pull that off, right? Anyone else, if you're taking the traditional route to that career, you got to go through, 5-10 years of being a PA, being an assistant to the assistant director, a second AD, you got to work your way up. But me, I just made a buddy at Starbucks and went home and Googled, what does an AD do? And there we go. I was in Chicago, bossing around a bunch of 50-year-old IATSE dudes. Hey, no hate to IATSE, by the way. Love you guys. But it illuminates a simple truth, right? Is that most high-paying work doesn't go to the best option. It goes to the most trusted option, the best known option. The higher the ticket, the job, the bigger the client, the sexier the client, the more likely it just came from good old-fashioned networking. And honestly, that's probably true for most lower ticket clients too. We'll just across the board. For the most part, they just come from good old-fashioned networking. Think of it like this. Talent is expected. Trust is the differentiator. A trusted freelancer gets hired with less red tape, doesn't get nickel and dimed, gets looped in early on key projects for a company, becomes a quiet part of the team's strategic planning. A talented stranger gets ghosted, gets asked for test work, has to prove their value from scratch, might win one job, but never really gains momentum. When trust is high, the friction is low. And that's why your network is going to matter way more than your portfolio ever will. Here's how to reorient your business starting today. Stop relying on job boards as your primary acquisition strategy. Hopefully that's not the case for you, but it is the case for many freelancers. Cut that out. It's a fallback for people who aren't in the room. There's nothing wrong with a good job market, but it really should only account for 10 to 15% of your lead generation. It's rented land. You don't want to build your empire there. Next, make it your job to get closer to decision makers before they need you. This is long game behavior because it compounds. Treat this mission like it's your job because it is. The success of your business kind of depends on it. 1 year from now, you'll be amazed at the opportunities afforded to you because you showed up at this job consistently every day. And then last, always ask, am I playing at the network level or the internet level? If your name's not being mentioned in the right rooms, it's time to start showing up there. All right, so if talent gets you considered and trust gets you hired, then the question becomes, how do you build that trust at scale? Let's talk about it. Everyone's trying to automate their way to six figures, but the fastest way is relationships. Here's why this is more true than ever in 2025. More freelancers than ever before. That equals more noise. More companies outsourcing than ever before. That equals more opportunities. More tools and more platforms and more marketplaces than ever before. Plenty of them are in my DMs. That equals more friction for clients trying to choose who to go with. So how do clients de-risk this process? They go with someone they already trust or people who were introduced by someone they trust. And the higher stakes the project, the more likely they are to default to their network and not to the open market. Networking isn't old school. It's how the best gigs still get distributed. But what is the new school version of this? It's people think of networking as awkward happy hours and spammy DMs, and that's not it. That ain't it. That's not what we're talking about today. So let's reframe it. LinkedIn is a 24/7 business conference. Sales Navigator is a search engine for introductions. And your comment section and other people's comment sections are where the conversations begin. You don't need to be slick. Don't need to pitch. Just show up with value every single time. Think about it this way. Every comment's a handshake at an event. Every DM is a side conversation after a panel. Every post is your time on the stage, right? You're not faking it. You're just being visible in the rooms that matter to your business. Here's why most freelancers don't network. They think that they don't have anything to say. They think that it's awkward to put themselves out there. They think that it only works if you have a huge audience. But here's the truth. You don't need to post to start networking. You just need to comment and connect. You don't need to be an extrovert. You just need to be consistent. You don't need 10,000 followers. You need the 10 right people to notice. This isn't about going viral. Again, think of it like a 24/7 business conference. This is about getting the right people to notice you and have the right conversations with them. Let's get you started today. Here are 1, 2, 3, 4. Here are 4 things that you can get started with networking at scale today without feeling gross. And then we'll get into detail. But if you want to pause the video after these 4 and just get to work, you could do that. First, comment on 3 posts a day from people in your industry or niche. Say something smart, specific, supportive. Not like, I love this fire emoji, but, hey, this was a great post. Compliment the original post. Add to the conversation, end on a question. Keep the conversation going. 2, send 5 DMs a week to past clients, peers, new connections. Don't pitch, just connect. Share something useful. Again, start a conversation. 3, add value publicly before you ask for anything privately. Think of this as your runway. You build the trust before the takeoff. And then 4, start a CRM of dream clients and interact weekly. Use LinkedIn's follow feature. Use Sales Navigator. Do your research and find 25 people that you want to make sure that you're top of mind for. Most freelancers chase the algorithm, but the smart ones invest in relationships because that's the stuff that compounds. You're not an influencer. You're not trying to build an audience to monetize or sell to sponsors, right? You're running a business, and so you're trying to connect with people who have problems that you can solve for them. So I guess the next question is, how do you stop being forgettable and start being the first name that gets mentioned when money's on the table, when something needs to be solved? Most freelancers build their content with the customer journey in mind, or they build their presence on the internet with the customer journey in mind. You need to build a similar journey with your networking. This is your system for turning strangers into clients without ever having to send a cold pitch, without ever having to play the numbers game. It's the same 3 stages as a sales funnel, which you're probably familiar with: top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel. So the top would be awareness. They see you. Middle would be familiarity. They remember you. And then bottom would be trust. They believe you. Except instead of ads and nurture sequences and emails here, your tools are comments and DMs, content, referrals, real conversations. Let's break it down. Stage 1, awareness, becoming visible in the right rooms. They can't hire you if they don't know you exist. So like I said, you don't need to go viral, but you just need to show up in the rooms or in the corners of the internet where these conversations are being had, where your clients exist. So let's get tactical here. Follow 25 to 50 influencers in your niche on LinkedIn. This is where having a niche is really important, right? People ask, well, why can't I just be a generalist? I want to solve problems for everybody. This is why. Because a niche gives your marketing a target to hit, right? So pick an industry to solve problems for, and then pick 25 to 50 influencers in that industry who are active on LinkedIn and who have active comment sections on LinkedIn. Follow them, turn on their notifications. You want to be the first comment on every post that they post, or as close to the first as possible, right? Because then anybody else in the industry that you solve problems for that follows this person when they come to engage on the post, they'll see your face next to something valuable in your comment every time. They'll get real used to seeing that, to your presence in these comment sections. And then come back to that post 12 hours later and 24 hours later to reply to other people's comments. So your first time on there, you're replying to the influencer's post. And then your second and third time at that post, you're replying to other comments on that post. Again, with value, keeping the conversation going, thinking of it as a networking event, the 24/7 business conference that it is. Pro tip here, save a lead list in Sales Navigator or on your own CRM. Review it every Monday and decide who you're going to interact with specifically in the replies and the comments that week. We'll get more into Sales Navigator in just a moment. I just wanted to log that one here. Here's some swipeable comment examples based on some comments that I've left. So one would be like, love this. Reminds me of a challenge we solved last month using insert impressive solution here. Curious if that's on your radar yet. Or another one would be, wow, most people don't realize this problem's hiding under the hood of X, right? Whatever common scenario is in your industry. Appreciate you surfacing it. In any of these instances, you're not pitching. You're not in those comments selling yourself. You're making yourself unforgettable. Okay, stage 2 was familiarity, right? Middle of funnel. Build lightweight relationships. Once they've seen your name 3 or 5 times, you're no longer a stranger. That's your cue to initiate connection. So let's get tactical. Send a no-pitch DM that refers to something that they've said in a post or a conversation you've had in comments with them. Use a voice memo or a loom if you want to add a little personality to make it a little more memorable, a little more personal. And if they engage with you, respond and keep it warm and keep it real. Just like we talked about in the client communications video, you're demonstrating what you're like as a strategic partner here, what you're going to be like on their team, right? So throw on their jersey, advocate for their success. Don't be selling right now. This is just you trying to help a fellow human out. Oh, pro tip, don't go in empty-handed, right? Give them something useful, something free that they don't have to exchange an email for or anything like that. And don't ask them if it's okay to send it, as you're just giving them homework, right? Just include it in the email or in the DM. So here's a few DM templates from recent conversations I've had on LinkedIn. Hey, person's name. I loved your post on insert post topic here. Been seeing the same with a few clients. Curious, what's been the trickiest part of that for your team, right? So you're getting a little intel out of this, but you're opening up the door to have a conversation about something that they're actively solving for or actively working on right now. Another good one from my DMs. Hey, this might sound random, but your recent post reminded me of a solution we built for a similar situation. Here it is attached, right? Again, not happy to share if you give me permission or blah, 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 right? Because I think too many people are DMing versions of that, and it's now coming off as, because I don't know who gave them the advice, but it's clearly based on the amount of DMs that I get a day with this tactic. It's clearly advice is being given, where it's like, hey, would you mind if I sent you over a custom case study for this? Or would you mind if I sent you over, whatever? And it's obvious that the intention is you get the person to say yes, engage with you, gamify it a little bit. Therefore, they feel compelled to respond once you send it over. Don't do that. Just send it over. If it's valuable, they'll respond, right? If it's valuable, then you've started a conversation. You can offer stuff. You can offer a free audit or your point of view on something that they're doing, but make it relevant and custom, and don't give them homework to do. Don't ask, how can I help? You should be coming in already knowing how you're likely going to help. You're not selling a service. You're opening a conversation. All right. Stage 3 is trust. Become their default recommendation. Here's where those compounding efforts pay off. You've become familiar. You've built a relationship. And now you want to signal, I'm ready to lead. So what do? You share some success stories, some screenshots of what others have done with you to their success. You send some smart breakdowns of client wins, even if you got to draw a black line over the name of the client. if it's behind an NDA, or if you don't want to share financials reportings from another client. And over on your profile, make it crystal clear what you do, who you help, and to what end result. Always have a pinned offer, like a post or a link that gives people instruction on action to take to work with you, or even more so than instruction, like a reason to, right? What's on the other side of engaging you? What's on the other side of clicking on this link and booking a call? So, like, if you're a social media manager, it's not click here to chat with me. It's here's how we helped a B2B SaaS company 10x their reach and with a 30-day content sprint, right? Click here to download the case study. And then at that download, the next page is a book a call. And you've officially started them off on emails or DMs. So now the question is, where do you actually find these people? And how do you get in front of them without sounding like a weirdo online? Well, that's what we're going to unpack in section 4 here. LinkedIn and Sales Navigator for freelancers. I've already said it once or twice in this video. LinkedIn isn't a social network. It's a 24/7 business conference. It's just open for business all day, every day. You can walk in whenever you want and network. And Sales Navigator is your VIP pass. Most freelancers treat LinkedIn like a place to drop a portfolio or occasionally upload, a case study or an example of their work. But the pros, the ones who land the high-ticket clients, treat LinkedIn like a relationship building engine, and they treat Sales Navigator like a client radar. So this section, we're going to talk about how to find the right people without wasting time, how to show up in their world consistently, and become the no-brainer hire before they post a job. Again, optimizing for the me and you stage of the networking gauntlet. All right. Step 1, build your Dream 50 target list. Most freelancers wait for work to appear. You're going to create a hit list to reverse engineer the room. Let's talk about how to build it. Choose an industry or niche where you already have case studies or personal interest or a healthy dose of network. Then search for decision makers on Sales Navigator within that niche with titles like marketing director, creative lead, head of brand, operations. If you're a service company, it's gonna depend on who you are, what you're offering. But those are good places to start. Filter by company size, geography, if that's important to you. But the most important element is to make sure that you've toggled on active on LinkedIn or whatever. I forget what terminology they use exactly for it, but whatever the toggle is that shows that a lead has been active on the site in the last 30 days, because there are plenty of people that created their LinkedIn profile in 2010 and then never came back to the site. And so you don't want to be sending that person messages or engaging with that person. So make sure you have that toggled on. Oh, pro tip, save searches and use Sales Navigator's spotlights, like change jobs in the last 90 days or mentioned in the news, to identify engagement opportunities. Step 2, engage without pitching. Most freelancers immediately pitch, and it's a vibe killer. And it's one of those things that if you do it enough times, it'll work like twice, and then you'll think, okay, well, I just have to do it 200 times to get 2 leads. But there's a better way, I promise. Just treat your job now, after you've sent out a connection request and it's been accepted. Your job is to make a buddy, right? It's not to pitch anything. You're literally just trying to make a buddy in the industry. And yeah, you can do this in the DMs. It's a great place to do it, but there are also so many tools available to you on LinkedIn. If nobody's accepting your connection requests, you can like and comment something meaningful on their posts. You can react to their story. You can share a piece of intel that's useful, in post form. And step 3 is you send the warm connection message once you've shown up a few times. And especially if they've replied to one of your posts or one of your comments on one of their posts, or if you guys have had a conversation in the comments section of someone else's post, that's the moment to reach out directly. And again, don't pitch. Make a buddy, connect. Hey, seen your content around topic A. I've been working with a couple teams around a similar issue. I'd love to compare notes if you've got some time. That's it. Don't ask for a meeting. Don't ask for work. You're setting the stage for a strategic partnership. For you're building rapport. You're making a buddy. And then lastly, and this is where I think a lot of people ignore this one because they want to take action, or they want to be directly responsible for every lead. But optimize your profile for lurkers that don't engage in the comment sections, that don't engage in DMs on LinkedIn. Even if you never post on LinkedIn, people will check your profile after seeing your comment or seeing your DM. So your profile needs to pass this 5-second test. Do I know what this person does? Do I know who they do it for? And are they legit? So fix these 3 profile areas to make sure you're optimized for that. Firstly, your headline. You want clear positioning. You don't want to say, you're an animal lover, or, you're here to help people get the best out of themselves, or something that nobody knows what it means, right? You're a brand strategist for direct-to-consumer startups, right? I help you launch like Nike, but without the budget, okay? Now, looking at a profile, you'll see the biggest opportunity is your banner image, right? Top of fold, huge graphic opportunity. And that's a place to add authority and or context, right? Client logos, process visuals, double down on that transformation promise. And then 3 is the featured section on a profile. It's where you can add some links. It's where you drop a short case study, a testimonial video, a 3-slide portfolio deck, what have you. Notice that I have not mentioned content once yet, or content strategy at least. I'm sure I've said the word content. That's not what's going to move the needle in a meaningful way for you on LinkedIn. That being said, I still suggest you get in there and experiment with it a little bit. Your content is a conversation starter, and only 1% of the platform actually posts content there. So it's pretty easy to get seen, for now at least. Okay, we've been talking about the internet and LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, and by extension, social media. But I would be remiss if I made an entire video about networking and didn't mention in-person networking, like actually going to in-person networking events and leveraging them for your growth and for your success. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to be unforgettable at in-person events, even when you're not extroverted. Because most freelancers go to events hoping to get lucky, right? I'm just gonna put myself out there, and that's success comes from putting yourself out there. When the goal really is, to market yourself and become unforgettable to the right people. So whether it's a local meetup or a conference or a happy hour, networking events are still some of the biggest opportunities to grow a business, because it's like a highway to trust, right? If you've been in a room with a person, just the amount of trust that can be built in a 5-minute in-person conversation, could take weeks on LinkedIn, even when being executed masterfully. Here's the part that no one tells you. You don't have to be the most outgoing or the most charismatic. You just have to be the most intentional. So let's break down the 3-part playbook for maximizing the potential of in-person networking events for your business. Step 1, choose events like a strategist, not like a tourist. Not all events are created equal. You want client-rich environments, not cool conferences. So run it through this litmus test. Are your dream clients going to be there? dream clients, not fellow practitioners that are like studs in your industry. Is the event focused on solving real business problems, or is it just kind of a vibey thing? And then lastly, will you be able to talk to people, or is this more of a, panels and presentations situation where you're just going to be sitting in a dark room watching people speak, right? Are there networking opportunities? Is there a show floor? Are there, after parties? Are there official and unofficial networking events around the conference? Take a look at niche events like industry-specific conferences, local like entrepreneurship panels, founder, executive breakfasts, masterminds, even events on LinkedIn. They'll have like local meetups on LinkedIn or sites like meetup.com or meetups.com. I don't know which one it is. Eventbrite, all these platforms, look for the niche events that attract your ideal clients. Okay. Step 2 of the 3-part playbook is to set one clear goal, not 100. One powerful conversation is worth more than 20 contacts in your phone. So go into this thing with a specific goal. Have 10 real conversations, or ask 5 people what their biggest challenge this quarter is, or get one intro to someone hiring creative help. Your mindset should be that you're not there to sell. You're there to learn what people are solving for. And then just like online, you win if you make a buddy. That's the objective. Make a friend. If you come in curious, not needy, people will actually want to talk to you. People love talking about themselves. They love talking about their problems. Workshop them with them. A pro tip here is to use LinkedIn ahead of the event to kind of identify your targets, right? Do a little light research on who's going to be at this thing, and go take a look at how they're engaging on LinkedIn, what they're posting about, and what they're commenting on, and do a little homework. Be ready to speak intelligently about some of the stuff that might interest them. And then step 3 of this 3-part playbook would be to use strategic small talk to find work. The best networking opener isn't, hey, what do you do? Right? It's, what are you working on right now that you're excited about? You want to go for follow-ups to get people thinking out loud. All right, what's been the biggest challenge so far? Where do you feel like you could use some more support? Or magic wand experiment. 5 years from now, everything goes right. What's business look like? You're not pitching. You're listening for problems worth solving. And then when you find one, offer a tiny suggestion, a quick insight. Offer a relevant story from your own adventures. You're planting a seed here, right? Again, it's not a pitch. And then I know I said this is a 3-part playbook, but I'm going to add a step 4 here. I'm going to say that the follow-up after the event is where the work actually starts. Because no one remembers who they talk to at these things, right? Maybe there are a few exceptions to that rule, but really, you stand out by sending a really effective, thoughtful follow-up message within like a 48-hour window of the event. So something like, hey, name, I loved hearing about, the thing you guys talked about. Thought you might enjoy this case study or article or, what have you, white sheet. This is something that we use with another client. No pressure at all. Happy to jam if you want to, workshop some ideas. That's all you need to do, right? You show up, again, you're not empty-handed. You're showing up with value. You remind them of the, fantastic conversation that you guys have already had, and then you keep the conversation going. You let them know how to keep the conversation going. Pro tip here would be to, after your conversation in person, just go, find a quiet corner and pull out your phone and write down as much as you remember about that conversation, like very little details, so that in this email you can add a tip, or you can add, something humorous, or, just something to reference that would make them go, man, 2 days later and they still remember that thing, or oh wow, yeah, we did talk about that, and they kind of chewed on it for 2 days, and that's a great tip. Yeah, I like that, right? So yeah, take those notes. That's an important part that's most people sleep on. They just get the business card or the digital business card and set the reminder to email that person, and then everybody gets the same blanket kind of general email, and it's a missed opportunity. So take those personal notes after each conversation. Okay, but how do you stay top of mind for longer than 48 hours after the event, right? So maybe they don't need you right now, or they don't have a budget approved, and maybe you'll have something for them 6 months from now. They'll have a reason to work with you. But how do you stay top of mind until then? What does follow up look like in this situation that's not spammy or obnoxious? Well, you're in luck, because the next section we have here is how to stay top of mind without feeling salesy. You don't need to follow up every week. You just need to show up strategically and memorably. The goal of networking is not to be the loudest, most persistent voice in their inbox. It's to make sure that when a project comes up, you're the first person they think of. And that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because you've built lightweight recurring touch points into your business. Let's break down 4 frictionless ways to stay top of mind and exactly how to use each one. Number 1, the intel ping. Hey, just saw this and thought of you. This one's fast, specific. It's always appreciated if it's done correctly. Send over a relevant article or case study or LinkedIn post, something that they would benefit from having in their inbox, and add your note that connects the dots to their world, right? Or to the conversations that you guys have had. Like, hey, this reminded me of what you said about your upcoming launch. I'm curious if you've seen this yet. You can do this with your past clients too. This doesn't have to be, new leads that you're chasing down, that you're nurturing. You could send them something and say, hey, this made me think of how we can approach Q3. Mind if I, sketch something out, or do you have 15 minutes to chat about it? 2, the showcase story. Wanted to share something we just launched, made me think of your team. This is how you turn your current wins into new projects without bragging or indulgent self-promotion. You send them a DM or a short loom, via email to a recent result that you've gotten with a client, where you adapt it to their context, to the context of their goals, right? Don't just drop a video in their lap, or or a portfolio or a website or whatever it is you do for your clients. Do the work of tying, okay, here's the success that this customer saw. Here's the success that I know you're aiming for. And here's the string that connects them. And, you can turn this stuff into content too. It could be a LinkedIn post that doubles as like a silent sales pitch. 3, the personal pulse check. Just saw you got, hired, or just saw you launched, or just saw you brought in a new whatever. Congrats. This one's not about work. It's about being human. If something big has just happened in their career or in their life, reach out as a fellow human and pat them on the back. Reacting to those big moments builds emotional rapport, reminds them that you're paying attention, all that good stuff. And then 4, the Reoffer Rhythm. Hey, just launched something new. I think it could be a fit. Most of the time, your old clients, or your kind of long-term leads that have never become clients, aren't ignoring you. They just don't have an excuse to work with you. So if you build out new offers, if you bring a smart, tailored idea to the table, you'll immediately separate from the pack, and you'll get them excited about, like, cool, we finally have an excuse to work with this person we trust. So here's like a few examples you could swipe, just how you write that email. Like, hey, just built a new sprint offer that helped client X double conversion. Think it could work for your project. Insert whatever their project is. I'd love to send over the details. You have 15 minutes to chat. Or been seeing a lot of brands in your space trying to solve X. So I built a solve for it. I built a solution. Do you have 15 minutes to chat? I'd suggest you develop like a quarterly cadence for these offers, right? Be building out a new offer every 3 months or so that you can bring out to these long-term leads and these past clients that are all likely looking for a good excuse to work with you, and you just haven't given it to them yet. And these don't have to be, brand spanking new offers. They can just kind of be different doors into what your service is. It's just like a different way of positioning it, a different way of saying what you do, So if they haven't called you in a while, not because they don't like you, it's just you haven't given them an excuse to. All right, let's talk a little bit about mindset here. Let's talk about how to play the long game without burning out, because these compounding efforts don't matter if you don't do them consistently and you're not patient enough to let them actually pay off for you. So at this point, you've got the tactics. You know how to identify the right people. You know what to say to them. You know the tools to use. You know how to build meaningful connections, and you know how to stay top of mind. But let's be honest. It has been reported to me that others feel overwhelmed by this whole networking thing. There's no instant payoff. There's no guaranteed win. Freelancers don't know if they're, spending their precious time on and attention on the right things, or when to call off an effort. And frankly, most freelancers give up too soon. So this final section is about developing a mindset that keeps you showing up without burning out or selling your soul. First thing you got to realize is networking is not selling. It's surfacing alignment. All right. You're not trying to convince anyone to work with you. You're looking for mutual timing, trust, and fit. Freelancers burn out on networking when they think it's about selling. They think their job is to persuade people or to kind of move them towards a monetary exchange. But the real job of networking genuinely is make a buddy, make a friend, right? That's the opportunity. You get the trophy if you make the buddy, because at the very worst, in that instance, you've made a friend that will never work with you, but that person will probably advocate for you. But more likely, you've made a friend who will be happy for an excuse to work with you if you put the right thing in front of them. So show up in the right places, ask the right questions, and then let the right people recognize the fit when it occurs. When you show up consistently with that curiosity and that clarity and good ideas, the leads take care of themselves. Play brick by brick. This isn't a spray and pray effort. Like I said earlier, you're not trying to go viral. You're trying to become unignorable to the right 25 people. The goal here is focused familiarity. If you engage with the same 50 dream clients on LinkedIn every day, comment on their posts, reply to their stories, DM, thoughtful case studies or insights every week, you will eventually be seen as everywhere. And when the right project comes up, you will be approached. So treat that Dream 50 list like it's client work, right? So many freelancers, maybe just because we're, raised to be employees, so many freelancers will go all in on their client work. They'll spend 8 hours a day working nonstop for their clients, but they won't do that for themselves. So take a look at, the hardest you've ever worked for a client. What did that look like? And now apply that to this. Apply that to building your network. Another big one is to detach from the outcome and attach to the practice. The winds come in waves. You'll send 20 messages and get one reply. You'll go to 3 events and make 1 contact worth remembering. That's not failure. Those add up. The freelancers who build lasting relationships across time are the ones who build lasting careers. Just keep showing up without expectation and trust that compound interest is real, and people hire people that they already trust. If talent were enough, you'd already be booked out. But the good news is you're not behind. You're just playing the wrong game. Now you know the rules. And your next big opportunity is waiting inside a relationship that you haven't built yet. If this episode lit a fire in you, drop a comment with your number one takeaway. Or, tell us a little bit about your top 50 list. Who are the next 3 people you're going to reach out to? Better yet, send this to a freelancer friend who's stuck, who's waiting for leads to come to them and not doing anything about it. And if you want the deets on how to use LinkedIn and Sales Navigator to better run this effort, make sure you're subscribed because we've got a full tactical breakdown based on the most attended meetup that we've ever had in the freelancing program. It was all about LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. We've got that coming up next, or sometime in the next, I don't know if it's exactly next, but it's coming soon. So subscribe and turn on those notifications, all right? Thanks for being here, guys. I'm excited for you. I'm proud of you. I'll see you in the comments.